Hi, I'm Dave. This is my Kamado Char Griller Acorn. I got it as a tremendous deal. It was $250. Which, if you can find a deal like that, this is the best money I ever spent. Right now I'm going to clean this grill up a little bit, and then I'm going to get ready to smoke some Peameal, and I'm going to show you how that happens. So we'll see how this first cut works, and then we'll go through the steps. So the ash pan's cleaned out, back in place, and now we're going to have a look at the inside of the grill. Now my grill, here, let's see if I can get you closer here. It's great to have the whole camera crew with me. There we are. I'm thinking that'll be a good view of what we're doing here. Yeah, that works. Okay, so we take, this just pops out very easily. You can see that. That's just an auxiliary grill for the top. We have a handy little tool that the char griller folks thought of. It'll pull out first that inside grill and then the outside grill. Now here's where mine is a little bit different from stock. I have a grill here that I will use when I'm making steaks and stuff. I'll put charcoal right on this grill, set it right here, and I'll light it up with a chimney, and I'll get a really nice hot flame, and that way I'm only about 4 inches below the grill that I'm cooking on. But for most of the time when I'm smoking, I have the charcoal down here in the bottom, and I light it. I'll show you in a few minutes how I light it with the shaggy balls, and I'll give you that whole secret as part of this video as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just very briefly swipe out some of the old charcoal here, knock any of the other ashes down to the bottom, make sure it's cleaned out nicely and ready to start for the spring. Because here we are, it's April 28th, and it's time to get this sucker cleaned up for the summer. So I've knocked all the ash down through and cleaned out that ash pan one more time. Today's choice is Rock Cut Baysville Lager. It's from Baysville, Ontario. Wonderful Lake of Bays beverage. So the next thing I'm going to do is, and the beauty of this, after you clean all the ash out and stuff, there's still an awful lot of charcoal left that's still entirely usable. Because the other beauty of the Kamado is that as you cook stuff, it burns charcoal fairly slowly. It'll hold 125 or 225 all day, and you'll still have charcoal left over when you're done. So, and I'll show you how we light that in just a minute. So for my smoke wood today, I've got a couple of chunks of hickory. They're just little chunks, and they've been soaking for a while. And I just make sure that I've got my charcoal kind of heaped on the side that I want my charcoal heaped on. And I'll set those pieces on top, and as the heat goes, it'll smoke. You know how that goes. Now here's the secret to lighting a nice fire that you want to build slowly, a good smoking fire. I call these Shaggy's balls, only for the reason that Shaggy was the first guy that I showed how to use them. And all it is isopropyl alcohol, and cotton balls. So when you burn them, it's all natural. There's no scent. There's nothing to it. It's not like you're using fire starter or anything like that. I'll put 2 or 3 in there, and then I'll take my. Hang on a second. I know that didn't seem like a second to you, but it was a couple seconds for me. So I take my dollar store lighter that I happen to keep not in my pocket, and just spark those balls up, and they will just make sure that there's charcoal around them. Things will catch slowly and get a nice slow gradual buildup of heat instead of having a chimney that's just going to put a lot of heat in right away. So you get a slow rise in the heat. And as I put that in, and I put in this intermediary grill, it's going to keep that direct heat off, let the smoke up. I put my main grill on, and the little char griller hole thing in there in the hole, and that's good. Close this down, open up the vent. The vent at the bottom is open pretty near full, top is open pretty near full, and that'll build up the heat pretty quickly. So we'll be back with you in a couple minutes when it's time to put the food on. So I can feel the heat kicking up here. It's just nice. Just starting to, it's not even starting to register on the dial here. By the way, the dials here, notoriously inaccurate. So get yourself a probe and get yourself the two-way probe. I'll show you the one that I use. It works great. And the other important thing I wanted to say is I want to give a special shout out to Karate Kid 004 for your encouraging words. You're why I keep wanting to make these videos, brother. Thanks so much. Well, as you can see, we got some smoke happening now. And our temperature actually has gone a little high. We're up around 228, but that's okay. That'll level out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close this bottom vent. Generally, you can close that. The bottom doesn't seem to make as big a difference as the top. And the top, if you choke it right down, except for just a little bit of a hole, just enough for the probe wire to still be able to move. I find that generally will hold it. Once it gets to temperature, it'll hold it just right. We open it up. We got a beautiful, nice, smoky area. It's not very hot here. Back here, you really feel a big difference between here and here. So the heat's coming up in behind. The smoke's coming up with it, and it's just wrapping that whole. It's going to wrap that whole piece of meat in goodness. I've got this Peameal bacon that I picked up for a song. It was really cheap in the grocery. It's Ontario Peameal bacon, and I'm going to just pop it right on here, thusly. I'm going to run my food probe through the middle. Now, all I've done with this, I haven't done anything with it as it came out of the package, except I dried it out a little bit, and I cut the pieces into widths about the right size for a chop. So now when I plug this in here, it's going to reflect the low temperature in the center of there. I'm going to close this one up. Right, let that smoke happen with that, and this is telling me that this is telling me a lot. Well, it's because the probe was sitting outside. It'll take a while for that probe to get down to the temperature that the meat was at, but so we've got lots of good smoke coming out of there. It smells awesome, good hickory smoke, and we've got the pork on there. It's going to go, and my hope is that I'll hit it around 160 degrees, and it'll be just right. So we'll see how that goes. So we're holding 216 degrees. And that's good. And our meat is hovering in around 108 degrees right now. We'll have a quick little look. Seems like maybe, oh no, there's still lots of smoke going on there. And that's still nice and moist. It's good to see that it's still lots of moisture in the meat there. So, yeah, so 108 degrees, so we're better than halfway to where we want to be. We want to end up around 160 is a good temperature to wind up with pork. And, well, it just dropped because we opened the lid, but we'll give it a little nudge. Open it up just a hair, it'll climb up a bit quicker. And pretty soon we'll have some pretty good tasting pig. There we are. You know, it's April 28th. I have an election coming up. I should really be working on that, but this is important. Talk to you later. And now, not sure if you can see it, but the smoke is kicking up there again. And this is, it's only been like 4 or 5 minutes since the last, when I opened the lid and then I adjusted the vents a bit. It's, the thing about smoking something is don't panic. You got time. It takes a long time to smoke something and a long time for it to take on that flavor. And when it seems like the smoke's not coming, open the vents a bit. Things will happen. you know, or close the vents a bit. If it starts getting too hot, close the vents a bit. Things will happen. It works, you know, as long as you don't run nuts, out of control. I mean, one time I remember I left a vent open a little too much and I ended up getting like 450, 500 degrees. That's not a good way to smoke anything. But as long as you just play with your vents and keep it in the neighborhood, it'll all be good. So there we are. So here we are. We've been on for, I guess, around 2 hours, two and a half hours. And right now our temperature crept up a little bit. Our internal temp under the dome is 248. So that's a little warmer than I usually like. I usually like to keep it around 225, 230. But it's not critical. And when we lift up, what we see is we're just starting to get a little dry around the edge. Still got lots of moisture coming out of the meat, but it's starting to get dry around the edge. So, and our temperature for the meat is at 150. So I'm happy with that at 150 because the internal temperature needs to be 160 before you can eat pork, they say. So, although lots of people say you can eat it rare now, and it's not a problem, but I still like to be a traditionalist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off the smoke. I'm going to cut it into the slices that it's in, and I'll grill it with a bit of sauce, and it'll come up to temperature. It'll be a nice, well-grilled kind of thing. So that'll be the next thing you'll see, and I'll probably do that on my gas grill instead of on the charcoal, because to convert this over while it's hot, I got to get leather gloves and stuff. That's no fun. So there we are. Okay, so pretty much raging hot, and we've already seen these are cooked pretty much all the way through. So all we want to do is finish them, and we just want to finish them nicely. So we got a nice, puts a nice chop there, nice little sear as it goes on, and we're just going to pop them on. This is just a skinny piece that was on the end, so it'll be just a little bit. And while we're doing that, we're going to fire on a little bit of my own sauce, just because we like my own sauce. You can watch one of the other videos. I think I make my sauce on one of the other videos. If not, then I'll do it on another video sometime soon. Doesn't need a lot, because there's already a lot of smoky flavor on there. You don't need to go overboard with sauce, but it's nice to have some on there. And just in case you were wondering, yes, that's pretty hard. Yes. Just smear it around a bit. Just enough to get a little kick on that sauce there. And this, of course, this being the end piece, it's got the crusty goodness on the outside. It's, oh yes, very nice, very nice. These all go good, and you might want to, as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip it. You got a couple of sear marks there. Going to flip it quickly, flip it, because it doesn't need to cook a lot. A lot of times this kind of thing, you'd keep it in spot for a couple of minutes and then you'd flip it, do the sear marks the other way, but I don't think we need to do that. We're not showing off, we're just making a nice, oh my goodness, smells great. A little bit of a flare up from the, because they're still nice and moist too, eh? We saw some of that moisture coming out of them as they were sitting after they'd been cut, but there was still a lot of moisture in them as well. So, check. That one's got a lot of moisture in it. Now, we just hit it gently with the sauce. By the time we get this rubbed on here, probably the sauce on the other side is caramelized on. Get on. Give it a quick little peek here, just a sneak. Yeah, see, you know what? That's all right there. That's not bad. You don't want to char it on there or anything like that. Just a little. Yeah, see, just starting to dry a little along the bar lines. That's nice. That's good. This little piece here is going to be the chef's tip. So I get to put a little dab on there and finish that up. That's the chef's portion. There we are. Little bonus just for me. Yay! Okay, then I'm going to turn off the heat. Let her simmer down a bit. And I shall plate those and serve them on up. There we go. So that's the end result. And if I just take a little check here, it's still nice and moist on the inside, nice on the outside. Tastes great, tender and wonderful, really good smoky flavor. And the whole thing cost me like $6-7. So it's a good way of doing that. Take care. Bye.